Hello and welcome to this week's Limitless Landscapers podcast. I'm Paula, your host, and this week I'm drawing your attention to an episode that I recorded and published back in July. And the reason I am drawing this podcast to your attention again is, in case you've missed it, it's a really good one for this time of year. It's talking all about preparing for the upcoming winter. We're now in the first week of October, and I'm having lots and lots of conversations about people preparing for a quieter period, noticing that we're already having a little bit less inquiries or not so much of what we want at the moment. That's fine. It's always going to be the same. So the reason this episode is really good is it's just highlighting a number of things that you can do in your business to prepare, to feel a little bit less stressed. It will probably help plan what you're going to do for the next few months going forward as well. And I've called it Let's Talk About Dave, because there is a little bit of Dave in every single one of us. If you've seen or listened to the podcast or seen the post that I posted around this time, it's about Dave, who owns a landscaping business, but he works more in the business than on the business. And he feels a bit worried. He feels like he's winging it, and he's not actually sure if it's going to go right or wrong for him. So this is all about Dave. And I'm sharing 5 things that you can do in your business just to really help you plan, prepare, and feel a little less stressed, a little less overwhelmed, and draw some good results into the business. I'm going to just mention the first couple. One is scheduling time to work on the business rather than in the business. We all know this is important, but sometimes it takes a back burner if you've got issues going on site, if you've got staffing issues, etc. And number 2 is cash flow. Cash flow really is king. It's the key to the success in your business. It's the key to planning everything and making really good decisions, informed decisions, not just off the cuff, winging it type of decisions. There's 3 more things that I talk about in this podcast episode. I really do urge you to take a look. Next week, I'm going to be talking about the power of connection. It's going to be a great episode. I'm going to be recording it very shortly. So I suggest that not only do you listen to this episode, that you hit subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode, because it's going to be a really good one, perfect for this time of year, perfect if you have your own landscaping or design business, which I hope you have, and that's why you're here. In this episode, I am talking about discovery calls. I do have some discovery calls available. If you want to book one, you just have to go to the website, thelandscaperscoach.co.uk, and fill in your details, and it will book you into my calendar. It's all very tech right now. Thank you, Charlotte. So please do listen to this episode. It's going to be well worth your time. I think you'll take something away with you, and subscribe so you can listen to next week's as well. So I will let you get on and go to the show.
As the co-founders of the Landscaper Circle, we help you get more money, time and freedom to become limitless through our experiences as fellow landscapers and our tried and tested methods. If you want help with your marketing, managing or growing your business, you've definitely come to the right place. If you're a landscaper, garden designer or supplier to the industry, then hit subscribe so you never miss an episode. Now, let's get back to the show.
Hello, lovely people. How are you? The sun is just starting to break out into the sky, which makes me very, very happy. I'm a fan of vitamin D and the fact that we can get jobs finished. Woo! That is a real thing over here as a landscaper. So today I'm talking about Dave. Now, if you follow me on Instagram, then I recently posted something called This is Dave. And I wanted to go through, because it has been quite popular. It's a bit of a tongue-in-cheek type post, but it actually conveys a lot. And I think we need to talk about Dave. So Dave, he owns a landscaping company. Dave works in the business more than he does on the business. Dave doesn't worry about the future or winter. He just tends to wing it throughout his life. Dave is often skint. Dave is often unprepared, and he's a little bit scared as well. So I was saying, do not be like Dave. And for many reasons, really. I don't know if this talks to you. I think it has talked to quite a few people because I've got quite a lot of comments, likes, and interactions on it. But essentially, we are all a bit like Dave sometimes. And we run our landscaping businesses. We have lots of ideas. We have no ideas available, but we don't tend to have the time to implement them. We schedule time to work on the business, but we get pulled back into the business, so we don't make the strides and the progress that we want. We think we can do it all on our own, and therefore we've got no one to talk to, so we tend to start feeling scared. We have cash flow blips. We might not even run a cash flow. We get scared. We don't tend to manage our cash well. We get scared of the future. Do you hear what I'm saying here? Does this speak to you? I don't know. But essentially, I don't want us all to be like Dave. I think we need to start changing, and we need to start, most importantly, preparing. Last week's episode, we talked about planning. And I'm not going to talk about planning this week's episode because I think that's important. Go back to that episode if you want to learn more about planning and failing and plan to fail, fail to plan, etc. But essentially, I wanted to go through a couple of the things that I talk about in the winter prep call, because these are all things that you can apply not just for winter, but for the whole business going forward. So it is an element of planning, because we do need to keep an eye on the business. We do need to make that time to work on the business. But essentially, I've been having quite a few calls with landscapers. Well, I've had the 5 calls now, which is really good, but I am going to open up 1 or 2 more just till the end of July, actually, because they've been really good conversations with landscapers, with garden designers about preparing themselves for winter and preparing their businesses for winter. I think that's the most important thing to notice. We need to start preparing not just for winter, but looking into next year and seeing what we can do differently. And I think it's really important not just to see what we could do differently, but to learn from what we've learned this year. So what figures are we looking at this year? What figures are we looking at this year that can help us prepare for the winter and prepare for going into next year? There are figures out there for you. It's whether you're recording them. This is a separate subject, really, but if you are not running an inquiry log, if you are not generating an email list from your inquiries and your quotes and stuff like that, then you're missing a trick, because these are the sorts of places you can find the information you need in order to prepare going forward. Also, if you have an accountant, you can pull some reports from the figures to know where you're at financially, which is always a good place to start when you are preparing for the next phase of business, preparing for growth, preparing for winter, preparing for anything. But it's really, really important. And the first thing is that don't be Dave. Start scheduling some time to work on the business. Now, I run a mastermind group for this very reason. I see landscapers all of the time unable to schedule time in their businesses because they start firefighting and they get pulled back into the tools. However, when they join a mastermind group, and my guys in my mastermind make the time, schedule the time to attend that meeting. So that is 2 hours every 8 weeks spent working on their business, with multiple brains working with them. So this is a chance to schedule time to work on their business. We also have one-to-ones for each month where we can decide what we're working on the business, what things need to be done that month in order to move the needle forward. And that's when we can set actions and really, again, schedule the time to work with your coach on the business. And then outside of that, you need to schedule time. So whether that means you schedule a morning a week, whether it's an hour a day, whether it's 1 day a week, I don't care how you do it. You need to make the effort to schedule some time to work on your business. And working on your business can take many, many forms. It could be setting up that automated email campaign that you've been meaning to do for many months in order to generate more leads or tell people about your new services that you're offering. It could be that you are going to write your entire social media schedule for the week or the month, and you just need to sit down and get it done. It could mean that you are reflecting back on financial figures, inquiry figures, conversion rates, etc. So you can see what gaps need to be filled and how you are going to bridge the gap in order to grow your business. It could be that you sit there and work through your cash flow forecast if you do one, and I urge you 100% to get one of those done if you haven't already. But essentially, you may want to work through your cash flow forecast to see where the dips are, to see where you need to book more jobs in. Maybe you could look at how you're going to afford to finance a new vehicle or whatever it might be. Maybe you just spend that time doing that. Maybe you spend that time working out and planning your jobs. Maybe you spend that time writing your blogs for the week. Maybe you spend that time doing the website amends that have been on your to-do list. Basically, when you're working on the business, you are doing the things that will progress your business forward. So it is not answering the phone to clients or to colleagues. It is not responding to emails ad hoc as they come in. I would urge you, when you are scheduling your time working on the business, you turn your emails off, you put your phone onto airplane mode, and you just crack on. You can do this in minutes, in hours, in days, however you want to do. But essentially, you need to schedule that time and boundary it. Very important. Now, I have done an episode specifically on boundaries, but that's a different episode. I'll put the link in the show notes. So you need to schedule time on your business. That is not what Dave is currently doing. You need to start looking at your cash flow and running a cash flow forecast. That's number 2 on my list. Inevitably, I could bang on about this all day. I tend to bring it up in nearly all my podcast episodes because it is the one thing that helped me grow my landscaping business way back when. It's been the one thing that has saved me from insolvency. It has been the one thing that's helped me make good decisions in business. It has been the one thing that has saved my business multiple times, because the cash flow forecast is a way for you to see the money going in and out of your business in real time. You are not waiting for management accounts from your accountant. You are not delayed because you're waiting on an accountant to put the figures in. It is your cash flow forecast. You run it yourself. So I could talk to you more about that. If that's what you're interested in and you have no idea where to start, do drop me a DM and we can book in a free call and I can go through cash flow with you. Number 3 is managing your jobs and seeing what you could do. Like, you can make sure that you manage them better, whether you run costing sheets, job schedules, etc. There's many ways to make sure that you are managing your jobs to ensure they make profit and to hold your teams accountable. That's another episode, I think, right there. However, it's also looking at periods of time. So we can't manage the weather, but we can manage the jobs that we book in. So thinking about what jobs can still be done in winter that will get done and you can get paid from is very, very important. There's something I didn't focus on for a while. In fact, this is probably the first year we're going to do it properly, but essentially we've always just booked stuff in, and inevitably, particularly last year, we had so many open jobs when we came back from Christmas break, and then we had really bad weather, so we couldn't get any jobs finished, and that just really impacted on the beginning of this year. So although I'm banging on about preparing for winter, the knock-on effects is it actually gives you an easier start to the following year. It prepares you for the following year and helps you get towards those goals that you are aiming to achieve next year and onwards. So that's managing jobs. Number 3 is making sure that you are honestly constantly following up. At the moment, we're in a busy period. Well, we certainly are. We've got multiple jobs open, multiple quotes open, should I say, not jobs, but multiple quotes open. We've got lots of leads still coming in. Fantastic. However, the fall down on this, where you can fall down, is where you don't follow up on open quotes strongly enough. And I mean regularly, strongly, just get on and do it. Don't put it off, because sometimes we can feel a little bit scared of rejection. There's no need to be scared. What's the worst they could do? They just say, no, we're not interested. But we all have that fear of rejection, so we don't tend to do it. Or we say, we've contacted them so much, they're going to be annoyed. To be honest, I don't really care if they're annoyed. I would rather just know if I've wasted my time or if they're going to buy from me. End of. Then we can move on. The idea is, I really like to get my quotes either closed and booked in, or they're lost. Either way, at least then I can move on to the next person. It's really important. No one tends to like following up, but it's a really important step. If you don't like doing it, potentially look at hiring a salesperson or a telesalesperson. I don't know, that might work for you. I personally just really, really want to emphasize the importance of following up. I don't think we do it enough. And this is why we tend to just give up instead of allowing yourself to step outside of that fear, to follow up with everyone and potentially improve your conversion rates, sell more jobs, and get more fully booked going forward into the year. And I really also think number 5 is building your network. You really need to build your network, because if you build your network now, you've got support if times become hard. So you can pull upon your network of support. So maybe you have a coach. If you don't, get in touch. I'm here. Maybe you want to rely on other people in the industry just to give you some advice, maybe a bit of boosting. Maybe they can generate jobs for you. So good quality networks around you could generate new opportunities for you that you might not have found yourself. I've recently done that, made a few new connections in a new networking group, and also people outside of that networking group that have been referred to me that I've built new connections with, and potentially new ways of marketing the business, new collaborators that we can send work to and get work from. So it's just a really exciting thing. And when you begin to network, even if you don't like networking as a whole, when you begin to grow that network, you tend to feel less alone. And then you find that opportunities come to you without you having to necessarily try and market within an inch of your life. So these are the sorts of things that are going to help you not be Dave, not be scared, not be skint. I could go into lots and lots of other ways to do this. They are just 5 things that I'm going to talk about today. But essentially, we do need to start scheduling time to work on our business. I think it's number 1 on my list today. And it has to become number 1 for you, because we can put all this off all of the time. But in effect, you're just going to do the same as you've always done and be in the same place that you always have been. Nothing will change until you choose to change. There's also, I want to mention to you guys, is the energy. You can do all of the stuff. You can do all of the things. But if your energy isn't there, if your energy isn't right, then you are not going to get the sales and get the results that you need to move your business forward. If you're in a negative state of mind, if you're believing that you've tried everything and it's all failed, it will probably continue to fail. It's all about elevating your energy. We are all energy, and we need to keep elevating ourselves in order to attract more abundance into our life. At the end of the day, this may seem a bit woo to you, but science is we are all energy. Everything is energy. You attract what you put out, fact. And essentially, you can either live your life in the space of lack and negativity. So you believe everything is crap, life is shit, everything's going wrong, you never have any money, you never have any time, I just want to get the violin now. So you can either live in that space of lack, negativity, fear, or you can choose to live in the space that I prefer to occupy, which is abundance, love, fun, and positivity. So if you come from that space of feeling that everything's going to work out, there's enough money for everybody. There really is. There's no need to start fearing and gripping stuff, because that energy just brings you down. Whereas if you're in the space of openness, you're open to receive, you know that everything will work out. There's lessons in everything. You're taking the lessons. You're seeing problems or hurdles as things to get over. And you're looking at ways that you can learn the lessons from these gifts that you've been given to learn from. Because ultimately, everything that we see as a failure or a problem or a negative issue in our lives is a perfect prime opportunity to learn and grow as people. And we can pull that into our businesses as well. You don't have to just limit it to your personal life. You can bring it into your business, and vice versa. You don't actually just have to be like this in your business. You can choose to view your life from, rose tinted glasses lens, depressive, dark tinted glasses lenses. It's up to you. There's choices to be made. And I'm all about, let's make things as easy as possible. And if we can step into that elevated energy, that energy of abundance and joy, it will make life much easier. Things will begin to happen. Trust me, I could do a whole episode on that as well. But essentially, we all need to be mindful and conscious of how we are showing up each day. So it's not just about the things that we can do that are practical. That I've just gone through 5 things. I have another 3 things on my list that I could go through. But essentially, it's about how you show up for that. A prime example, if you're trying to sell your job and you're desperate because you haven't got any work booked in, you're scared, you're frustrated because they're questioning the pricing, then you're going to suck the life out of that situation, and you're probably not going to get the sale because you're gripping it so tightly. If you approach it in a way that everything will be as it should be, they will want what you are offering, because why wouldn't they? It's such a great thing. You're going to change their garden space so they can enjoy it. You sell the dream. You believe wholeheartedly in the dream, because belief is a major, sticking point here. You need to believe that is what you are selling. You need to have the passion behind it. They're going to buy into that, and they're going to buy into that elevated energy that you bring. So yes, you're not going to sell every single job, but if you show up like that, your life begins to get better naturally. It's just the way it is. You need to step into an energy of higher energy than you're at. You need to make sure you're not feeling like Dave. You're not unprepared, you're not skint, and you're not stuck, and you're not feeling that the pulling down that pulls you down, drags you down. You need to be feeling more free and more abundant, and step into that energy. And then you'll take action from that energy, which means you're bound to take better action. Your emails will hit the right nerve with your clients more if you're writing from that level than you are the negative. I'm going off into a woo-woo tangent, but essentially you need to think about how you show up. And if you show up in the right way, great things will happen. So that's it for today. I will be back next week with another episode of the Limitless Landscapers podcast. Like I said, I'm releasing 2 more calls for the rest of July. We've got a couple of weeks left, and I would love to help some more landscapers or designers on their road to preparedness in their business. So if you want one of those, just drop me a DM. I'm pretty sure they're going to go pretty soon. And yes, let me know if you need any help, and all the links to everything I've talked about is in the show notes, and any other previous episodes, etc. And I want to wish you a wonderful, wonderful day to enjoy and step into the new you, the higher level you, the elevated person that you can be. I know it. And I will see you next week.